What's up? It's your boy Danye BC2, and today we got a video on Jordan Peterson, and he gets into it with a lady about the idea of equality. So, without further ado, we're gonna get right into the video.
What do you understand by equality, Sophie? What does it mean to you?
Freedom.
Can you be more? Is it equality of opportunity? Is it equal pay across the board? Is it something more than that?
I think equality is better for everyone. I
Yeah,
think,
okay.
I'm really delighted. I love my job because it's an optimistic and a hopeful job, which is about creating more choices for people. I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? So the Scandinavian countries have moved more towards gender equality than any other countries, and the personality differences in Scandinavia have increased rather than decreased, and the proportion of women who are choosing STEM fields has decreased rather than increased. So as cultures become more gender neutral, the number of women who choose STEM fields decreases.
What do you mean by
increasing.
STEM fields?
Okay, so basically, she started off by saying freedom. She has this idea of freedom, and then when the host basically tells her to go more into it, she talks about just the idea of having equality of having the same equality and opportunities, men and women. And I think if we talk about, like, in a sense, if you really want to be honest, like, I don't think a lot of people have issues with that. The idea that women should have options, women should have freedoms, and women should have rights to do things that men do. I don't think a lot of men are arguing or have problems with this. Now, what Jordan Peterson went even deeper into is talking about the idea that we can all have the same opportunities, bet, but in terms of equal outcome is when the problems start to arise. And don't get mad when you start seeing the outcome.
So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you let men and women make their choices, what actually happens is that they specialize in different situations, and you don't get equality of outcome.
Could they not have been programmed to have those views from the moment we raise them and give boys Lego and construction?
No, because what happens is that as countries get more egalitarian, which means there's less programming of that sort, the differences get larger, not smaller. And the scientific data on that is clear. And most of it was generated by people who have a left-leaning bias, so you can't blame it on conservative scientists. It was a shock to everyone to find that out.
So
I think the difference between Jordan and me is that we look.
Dang, now that's crazy. So he's saying in Scandinavia that Scandinavia is one of the most gender neutral places probably in the world, and when everybody is left to make their own choices, the results actually get worse in the fact that women are steering away from STEM fields. And as people don't know, STEM fields are science, technology, engineering, and math. And those are the fields that are usually dominated by men worldwide. And a lot of women make that argument of, well, we don't get the same opportunities. You know what I mean? We don't get to do the same jobs that men get to do. And this is an example to where, okay, we even the playing field. This is the most equal place in terms of opportunity in the world. And the results from that show that women are steering away from these male jobs even more. And that's why he said it. It's a shock to everybody because, dang. So let's see what this lady has to say about that.
At evidence, and we lean towards different theories. So Jordan's theory is very much evolutionary, that there are inherent differences in men and women. Mine is very much more social role theory, if you like, and that men and women are taking on different roles due to the expectations that society puts on them. And it's interesting that Jordan frequently cites Scandinavian countries where they've made more, like, there's nowhere in the world that women are equal, but Scandinavia has made the most progress towards shared parenting, etc. Yep. That said, it's not done yet. There's nowhere in the world where this is done yet.
But it's having the opposite effect that the gender equality types predicted.
but-
Opposite, not the same.
So
and it isn't a theory, it's actually data driven by tens of thousands of surveys and the best scientific literature on the topic. It's not a theory, and I didn't come about it because of my political perspective. I looked at the data. What it showed was that as countries become more egalitarian, the differences between men and women grow. They don't shrink.
So what I'm interested in is data and analysis as well. And I'm particularly interested in the ones presented, such as the ones by the University of Southern California, which...
Okay, so before Jordan Peterson just dismantled everything she was talking about, she was basically saying, tried to get off the fact that, yes, the studies are there, and yes, it shows this opposite effect, but it's not done yet. It's still early in the research, in which is true. It is research that just came about and people are starting to study it, but we have to talk about the results as well. You don't just start a study and just wait 100 years to then talk about the study. No, the results are not looking good right now. And yes, like you said, it's early, but what's your stats? What are you going off of that these stats are wrong? And that's where our argument is definitely weak. And please, if you're watching this part of the video still, please hit that subscribe and like button. I know a lot of people watch the content and don't hit that like or don't subscribe. If y'all can do that, please, it'll be huge for the channel, man. We're trying to grow it and get things cracking. So please hit that subscribe and let's get back into it.
Discovered that change towards gender equality is actually being slowed by beliefs that are legitimizing social inequalities on the basis of sex. And I'm also interested, I mean, like Jordan, I look at the data and I look at the studies, and I'm really also very much interested in studies like the analysis that was done by the American Psychological Society, which looked at 45 analysis of whether there's sex difference over 20 years. And its conclusion was that men and women are basically alike in terms of personality, in terms of cognitive ability, in terms of leadership. But what it did find was that media depictions of men and women as fundamentally different perpetuate misconceptions, as does workplace bias.
Oh, God.
I hope y'all seen when she was talking, Jordan Peterson go like this. He's about to get her again. And she said that the data shows that men and women are more alike, but their media depictions are what's forcing it. Let's see what he has to say.
So it's my fault.
Break a box is toast.
These commercials.
No, well, you know, you're leaving soon. So
Men and women actually are more the same than they are different. But the issue is that small differences at the population level can turn into very large differences at the extreme. So, for example, men and women are broadly similar with regards to aggression, although men tilt a little bit more towards aggression. So that if you picked a random person out of the population, male and female, and you guessed that the male was more aggressive, you'd be right 60% of the time. But if you take the 1 in 100 most aggressive people, they're all male. And that's why the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that? Just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male.
My connection be acting up sometimes, but let's get back.
99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a...
Ooh. Get him. He is, this is why I like watching Jordan Peterson, because he knows what he's talking about. And also he brings up stuff that like I haven't seen other people talk about, like him talking about the idea that we might be equal, but that those numbers don't basically show exactly how close or equal really is. Because if you talk about the 100 most dangerous people in the world, they're going to be all men. So how close really, does it come to certain ideas that look closer than what they are? Because when you talk about extreme measures, it's not an equal thing. And so also he went into breaking down the fact that, and I love this because when we talk about equality for men and women don't talk about the hard stuff that men have to deal with, and they never try to equalize that. So he said, okay, most men are in prison. You want to equalize that? He said most men are bricklayers. You want to equalize that? More men work outside. More men work longer hours. Like, and basically all this stuff doesn't get talked about, but we want to talk about why men get paid more. We want to talk about why women aren't more women CEOs. No, let's talk about everything. If you want to bring everything to the light, let's bring everything to the light. And I think that's when it starts getting spooky for a lot of these women talking points, because they don't want to talk about the hard, rigid jobs that men are doing every day. They want to talk about the in the office jobs that are making a lot of money, that a lot of men had to sacrifice, put long hours in, and put they all into. So, like I said, I think Jordan Peterson, he touches on a lot of good things. We're gonna watch a little bit more.
Very simplistic analysis and trying to
Michael,
address
I
it.
was just going to say, Sophie, can you come back on that?
What I'm trying to equalize is opportunity and choice.
Fine, let's equalize choice.
You agree
Absolutely.
on that.
But we won't get equal outcome that way.
And I think that what happens then, nobody knows, because we've never done it yet.
We do know. We know what's happened in
It has,
Scandinavia.
But it's not fully got there yet.
No, but it's going in the opposite direction that everyone predicted, and strongly.
I think one of the things I loved about Jordan's book, which I speed read last night, so forgive me, Jordan, I've not read every line.
I mean, what else do we got to say? I mean, like I said, I think he brought up some good points. And for this woman, I'm not gonna lie to you, nothing of her stuff stuck. I can't even recall exactly what numbers or what anything she talks about. The only thing I remember her talking about is that we are equal, and Jordan Peterson basically said, yeah, no, because I can agree with you in the sense that we are equal, but then I can break it down to you why we're not as equal as you might think. And he did it beautifully, man. Let me know what y'all think of the video. Like I said,